That way we don't forget. Oh, good. You guys are welcome to jump in anytime. I love an interactive chat. But we'll take a little look in a second. Give it a minute. I reckon we can just about start, eh? We've got enough people, so without any further ado, I think we can just start. I don't know what's happening here. Just hide that. No, there you go. Computer display. Just making sure. Hang on a second. My camera's just going bonkers. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, let's start. G'day, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning if you're in Australia with us. And if not, good evening, good afternoon. Let's take a little bit of a look at where we are in the market, as we do every week. And if you are here with me live, thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate it. And if you're watching the recording, just make sure that you drop a comment down below, just so that I know that you guys are keeping up. What's up? As always, we will start with our Bitcoin dominance. BTC dominance has been playing catch-ups, in the sense that it has gone back into that yucky wick that it created during that liquidation event. Nothing new there. We knew it was going to retest it. We spoke about it last week, I think, or the week before, maybe. It was last week, where we said this week, usually these type of weeks do get revisited, and I think we actually probably will see a little bit more up price action for BTC dominance. So another push up wouldn't necessarily surprise me. It is nice to see, though, that we are starting to see some certain candle formation, and I'm not a candle trader by all means, and you know, but you do see, when you see this kind of dojis, they're basically signaling us that, you know, especially in a high time frame like the daily, we had a really nice big bullish price action followed by indecision, and then obviously the bears are starting to come a little bit more in control, but this is just temporarily. I do want to see BTC back up into the 62, because the higher we go, team, guess what? The lower we push. So it's like a big swing, right? You got to think of it like one of those swings that we had as kids. The more you pull it, the more it swings further. So BTC dominance, I'm going to stay a little bit patient here, but let's take a look at Bitcoin and the setup that we've been waiting and talking about it for a long time, and we finally are here, active and in profit. This setup was pretty easy to spot. My mouse is really slow, so please bear with me. I don't know why it's doing this, but what we see here, evidently back in May, was a nice big pool of liquidity that got formed. Yeah, we can all see that, nice and easy. And then we had this aggressive move down right here that subsequently turned into a nice move up. Now, when we see these kind of candles right here, we know that that's smart money at play. So they have likely a position open. So they would have had to open a short to then open a long. They obviously profited all the way up, nice, making money. But then they need to come back and mitigate or close that position. And that's what we just saw here. So all we have to do as a trader, smart money traders, is basically box up, like I do from that little gray box. You can see that right there. There's a nice gray box. Take it all the way and enter a position. I actually managed to enter it slightly lower, because if we drill down from the daily all the way into, I think it was 4 hour, and then I'll show you. This is gonna do my head in. I can already tell this mouse is just, I don't know what it is. It's charged, or if I'm streaming, or if it's my laptop. So if we go onto the 4 hour and we go back into that daily candle, you can see this evident push down. So this candle right here was a really nice candle to play off with. So, and then we can even go pinpoint it into the minutes, which was, oh gosh, hang on a second, team, sorry, just clicking buttons here. Into the minutes, there was a 30 minutes candle. So we've gone from a 4 hour to the daily, from a 4 hour and now into a 30 minutes. And I'll see how we can find those entries. So all we had to do was go back into that nice big push that we had, and you can see this 30 minutes candle right here was the one that we were really interested in. And if you go obviously all the way to where we are now, you could have actually taken a sniper entry off of that 30 minutes candle. I didn't personally take it. I went with a 4 hour. But if you were to do an entry 1 and entry 2, this is how accurate smart money can be. So you can see literally to the T, which is pretty cool, I think. If you can find those levels, just mind you that the lower time frame carry less importance than higher time frame, meaning so your entry 1 should always be taken off of a higher time frame, and entry 2, like 30 minutes would have been in this case, you can take off of a lower time frame, but it needs to be a smaller entry or an entry 2. So don't just, because sometimes you don't get hit to the T like this. Okay, so this was basically the Bitcoin long that we are currently in, broken down, why we took it, and how precise you can be with smart money, really. So I just wanted to quickly show you guys the logic behind the trade, because a couple of you in the chat were like, how do we get that level? So you know, like wizardry kind of stuff. But that's all it was, really. It was basically just going back in time. Look to the left always. That's what we do. Speaking of ETH, we obviously had that that nice big magnet up here. Pool of liquidity hasn't been taken yet, so that still stays there. It's not moving anywhere. What we do have, however, was this juicy level of liquidity that got taken. Finally, right? We can all see it. And all we have to do now is wait for price action to come back into a slightly more appealing, if you like to call it so, Fibonacci level. So at the moment we are sitting at a 50% of the move, and the move is, I'll go on a weekly so we can see a little bit better. Bear with me just a moment there. So that's the move. So from the low to the high, I'm just gonna get rid of this, and we can do that new drawing together. So from the low to the high, take that and that. You can see we are sitting at the moment at the 50%. I don't, as if you know me, I don't like to trade off 50% personally. I like to trade off 76, 6. There's better risk to reward. There's all bunch of things that happen at that magical level. 6 or 9 and 50%, they by all means a level that gets tapped very, very, very often, because when market hits the 50%, it's called a normal trend, okay? Whereas this is called a weak trend. I like to trade off weak trends because there's better risk to reward. But for ETH, basically, what I'm looking at is coming back into this level. Once we come back into the 2.5 to 2,000, I'll be interested again, and not just for leverage, but also for spot. I'll be buying ETH again. I haven't done so in a hot minute, but I'm not a buyer here personally. I'm not a buyer. There's nothing there for me to press buy on aside from a fib level. There's no structure to the left where we were here. There was no real, if you're a retail trader that trades off YouTube videos, you can say that this was around a level of support, but I personally don't do that. So I'm gonna be waiting for lowest price action on ETH. So I want to see that weekly candle around the 2.2, which also coincides with a stunning daily candle right there. And that daily candle is similar to the setup which we just looked at in Bitcoin. So let me just get rid of that. Big liquidity level down here, aggressive move down, comes back, and hopefully we see a move like that. So Bit more patience. Can you guys all see the resemblance though? That Bitcoin move, which we literally the same setup, which we just came and mitigated. Liquidity pool, taken, come back, retest. Liquidity pool, taken. We just need to come back. Yeah, so Cap is saying he's also looking at the 2-1s, which makes sense. Makes sense at a smart money point. You know, we just want to see that. Okay, this candle down here, I want to see mitigated. I want to see that level tested, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see relatively shortly before Christmas. Will be my bet. We'll see. Solana, similar to ETH, has nicely mitigated that big liquidation week from that futures liquidation event which we just had recently. So it has come back there, but I'm still not a buyer at this level. I want to see similar to ETH. I want to see a much nicer Fibonacci level. So we're sitting at the moment just around this 50 to 618, just somewhere in between. The structure, you can argue that you can take a fib from here, you can take a fib from here, but in reality, this was the start of the move. And what I mean by that is the move was obviously bearish, and then this is where we turn bullish. So this is where you should anchor your fib from, with obviously that being the low and this being the high. And I want to see similar to ETH. Guess. 50%, 618. Nope. 786. And if you look at the 786, similar to ETH, guess what we find there, folks? Another institutional candle right there, just above the 786. So you can see that there's a lot of confluence happening around that that time. Like this was in June, 22nd of June. The candle down here was also in the 22nd of June. And if we look back at Bitcoin, that candle was also on the 22nd of June. So Bitcoin has mitigated that 22nd of June bearish candle, whereas Ethereum and Solana are still quite far. That tells me, and I'm putting a piece puzzle together here for you guys and girls to understand. We just always start from Bitcoin dominance. I just said that I likely will want to see some, what was that? I likely want to see some higher price action coming back somewhere into the 63% potentially. And tell me in the chat, what happens when Bitcoin dominance goes up? What do alts usually do? What do alts usually do? They nuke. That's it. Cappy knows what's up. They bleed. So if I'm expecting, I've got a bias, right? And my bias can be wrong. I'm not right all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like no one's right 100% of the time. But I'm forming a bias. I'm literally just giving myself a plan. So if I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to go up, is it fair to say that I can also expect Ethereum and Solana to go lower? I think it's fair. It's a fair assumption, right? It just makes sense. It wouldn't make sense if I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to go up and also alts to go up. That's not how it works. So for Ethereum and Solana, I'm expecting more downside action. And before, if you're watching the stream or if you're here live, before you start asking, should I short from here? Absolutely not. You're in the middle of a move. We're sitting at the 50% on Ethereum, and we're sitting at the closer to the 618 on Sol. You don't want to short in the middle of the move. You want to short at the top, right? Or you want to buy at the bottom. What do? Do you want to buy tops or do you want to buy bottoms? Do you want to sell tops or do you want to sell bottoms? That's just a decision that you got to make. It's your money. I know where I was short. This was the short that we were in that we could have kept open, but we're not greedy. And this was the short that also we're in, and we obviously printed to full TP. So this was closer to the top. Right now, it's a bit too late to short. Okay, so right now it's time for patience. Patience. Let market tell us what wants to do. Let's move on to XRP, which I don't know if you saw on my channel. XRP just got very nice news. So they are now integrated or partnered with Mastercard. Maybe we'll move that text where you can actually see it. How about that, Aussie? XRP partners with partners. Not enough coffee today. With Mastercard. And I don't know if you guys remember a little while ago, Gemini, do you remember Gemini? The exchange, they launched their crypto card. And guess what? Gemini also filed a patent to become a bank, like most of the latest or biggest. Yeah, there you go. Capi uses it. So Gemini has filed to become a bank license in the United States. There's many other exchanges that are filing for same patent. You can do that so that they can basically hold your money. But why is it important to us? Is that because Gemini, you know, I don't really care about Gemini or the card itself. It's the fact that Gemini's got a Mastercard bank. And if you can understand what Mastercard is going to now be settled on, is going to be settled on RSUD, which is the Ripple US dollar stablecoin, of course, right? And guess where the transaction are going to be validated in? XRP ledger. Okay, so big news. We knew from the get-go that XRP was going to be the project that institution would adopt. It's the least, apologies, decentralized. It's the most centralized of all. But guess what? Banks, institutions love that. They don't care about decentralization. We do. But in reality, the future of crypto is going to become a lot more centralized than back when Bitcoin was created. So we just gotta, you know, get used to see these kind of things. And I don't really care about the price of XRP right now when I have this kind of news. I want to see some of these lows taken back. I want to see some of this week filled out, but I'll be buying XRP again. And if you follow some of my calls with portfolio, you know that my TP on XRP was around the $4 and then $5 and then $6. I'm fairly sure we will see this price action happening, those prices in XRP in the coming years. So this is a buy and hold. And to give you an idea, I buy XRP for my son. He's 5.5 years old and he has a ledger with XRP, pretty much nothing else, and Bitcoin. So those two, no ETH, no Solana. I know for him it's just XRP and BTC. So it's a long-term project, but we'll see. We'll see how it plans out. We were buying down here, to give an example, 50 cents, right? So still up nicely. So XRP, don't discount it as it's done. And I just want to bring to your attention as well, like, thank you for the matter to your attention. I can't do the accent, but what do you think are the ISO 222 project, namely Quant, just pumping out of the blue? Like, yeah, sure, there's news around it, but guess what? When you see they're leading, right? You can see Quant jointly announced a proposed recapitalization transaction involving Euron. Basically, all this is telling you that all these ISO 222 coins, which was such last cycle, even previous cycle narrative, they're coming back. It was just early. Now that we have institution, now that we have adoption, these ISO 222 coins will come back. XLM was one of them, of course. We've got Quant and XRP being the flag of them all. So something to keep an eye on if you're playing the long-term gains, right? And I'm not saying that we'll not see an XRP as low as, $1.50 again. I think we will. I think we'll come back into $1.50, potentially even low $1, which is great. Gives me time to buy a little bit more. But this is my outlook on the main force. Let's move on. And before I do move on, I would just want to ask the chat, is there any questions on the main fours? Do we understand why we can see Bitcoin dominance potentially going up? Hang on, there's a question in the chat. So the question is, if we have so many indicators on BTC and it's potentially at 89 and 2.1K, why are we not opening short here? Trying to learn. You must have not heard what I said, Nimesh, but I'll repeat it for you. Do you want to sell when you're at the top of a range, or do you want to sell when you're in the middle of a range, or do you want to sell at the bottom of the range? Yeah, all good. You want to sell the top, right? Exactly right. It's the same way you want to buy the bottom, right? We want to buy the bottom to go up more. I don't want to buy the top or the middle. Yeah, so why would I want to sell ETH in the middle of a range? I don't really, yeah, it's, and obviously this is all, you know, time frame specific. I personally look at daily, 4 hour, 1 hour time frames. We have some really successful traders here in GTG that do 1 minute, 5 minutes, 50 minutes. It's not me, and it won't be me. I do more macro analysis and swing trading. So from a swing trading perspective, this is just basically no man's land. I'm not at the top and I'm not at the bottom. So I'm literally in the middle of a range. So that's why I'm not shorting. If it makes sense. All good, man, all good. That's what we're here for. That's why I always ask, is there any questions? Let's move on and have a look at some potential projects that we might be able to scoop up at a cheap soon. If you remember, just a little refresher, expecting Bitcoin dominance to go up, which means expecting alts to potentially push down a little bit more. Fantastic. Filling some of this week. Maybe even, in the case of Link, coming back and taking out equal lows. Now, oh, thanks, Guppy. Thank you so much, fam. So good to catch you early as well. Equal lows on Link at $10. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a buyer. I'm a big buyer. Let's wait for a $10 Link. And to be honest, you know, I'm actually going to do here live. I'm going to update here. And this is my new DCA zone, basically from that candle to here. So $10 to $12. Oh boy, I am a buyer. Because Link will go back to $30. Will go back. Will go to $40. Link is going to go back up and test some of these highs up here. Some of these $35, $34, $35, $36 high at some stage soon. You can see it's already starting to push. At a weekly perspective, right? We haven't broken structure. We're still bullish at a weekly perspective. Let me understand. Let me know if you don't understand structure, but we have obviously lower low, higher low, higher high, sorry. Higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high. And now I just want to see basically this level holding. If we can go back into the $10 in a nice big week, that would be sensational. I just want to see a quick come, grab of that liquidity, equal lows down here, and off to the races. Okay, so I'm expecting another liquidation event. Maybe not as bad as this one, but another big week, something like this will be nice on many of the alts. So I have Link here on my radar personally, and I think you should too. Okay, so Link at $10, $12 is definitely a spot portfolio play that I am totally okay in buying at this stage of the cycle, where I'm not going to put any of my hard-earned dollars into some of the mid-cap to low-cap coins at this stage. No thanks. I would rather have a bit more certainty and safety. So I go with bigger projects. Fear and greed not moving up at all. So look, fear and greed is an interesting. It's a different type of fear, and you know, it's good that you're bringing it up. I just wanted to chat very quickly about the fear and the greed indicator. We have so much bullish news at the moment on the market happening. Hello, we just talked about XRP. Like we have, this is just one of them. We have so much bullish news happening left, right, and center. Institutions, ETF, Solana, Proof. Now we're gonna have likely, you know, like there's gonna be all sorts of new ETFs coming. So it's a very strange time to be looking at the fear and greed index, you know, with fear, but so much bullish news still. I do want to see a bit more of, let's see if I can find it. I want to see a bit more blood in the market. Give me a bit more blood. I want to see more blood in the market. That's what I'm waiting for, more blood, and then I'll be a buyer again. At the moment, I didn't buy anything. I didn't call out anything aside from obviously that BTC long. And I hope you understand why we went back and broke it down. And if not, for those of you who join later in the stream, go back at the beginning and have a look. We just broke down the BTC. But for some of the other projects, I want to see a bit more blood. So the other one that I'm looking at, aside from Link, is Uniswap. I want to see Uniswap come back, fill some this week. I don't think we're going to come back to the $2. This was just price action. That was yucky price action on perps. But I do think potentially we can see a $4 uni again. And we're very close. We have $5 now. So $5 uni for me, $4 uni for me, $4 to $3.50 really. Basically anywhere into this monthly candle. And I know that I'm jumping out to some really high time frame, but this is what you do. If you want to understand the macro, you have to go into higher time frame, okay? I want to see coming back into this monthly candle right here. This week for me didn't do it. It wasn't anything convincing. I want to see price action fully coming back here, stopping for a bit, and then reversing higher. If it makes sense for everyone. So at the moment, I'm just basically saving money aside, and I'm going to be ready to deploy once we come back into those prices. Link is going to be it for me, $10. Uni for me is going to be $4. If $8 uni, it's here. So I buy here, I sell here, and a $12 uni, which is a 3x, is here. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible for uni to go back to 16? I do. You think for uni to back at 20? It was here in December last year, 1 year ago. I think it is. So this could be the easiest 5x we pull, you know, with relatively low risk and a strong backing of, you know, money tied up, TVL, and all that jazz. Ton, I've been buying. As you guys know, I was buying here, I was buying here, I was buying here, I was buying here, I'm buying here, I'm buying here, and I'll probably buy here, here, here. So I'm going to be buying this project because I do have, I've got a thesis, you know, a billionaire pav, like it or not, I don't really care. I'm agnostic to characters. I don't really care as long as you know, they're doing right by the project. And I don't know about you guys in Australia. We have something about to kick off very soon, which is a social media ban for 16-year-old. I know it's crazy, but I'm not going to say my opinion on it. But 16-year-old are going to be banned from using social media up until you're 16. Sorry. So 0 to 16, you're not allowed to use any social media platform. No TikTok, no Snapchat, no YouTube, no nothing. I think YouTube, maybe they struck a contract. Yeah. Anyway, so if we have kids which are highly, you know, reliant on some of the social media platform and whatnot, they're going to find other ways to to communicate. And guess what's going to happen? Things like WhatsApp is going to become okay, and potentially the only network on, you know, your Telegram. Because they're messaging platform. They're not social media platform. They're messaging platform. So this kind of, you know, ban on some of these social media platforms, I think we will see an uptake on potentially messaging platform. And I'm not saying that Australia is a big enough market to move some of these projects, but this might happen elsewhere. This may be a factor. Who knows? But I am basically going, and you know, I've made my opinion on Telegram, and yeah, so I do like the fact that they are really, and I'm talking about Telegram, they're really strict about privacy. They have, you know, obviously some of it's true, some of it's not, who knows, but saying country has been bagging to give privacy. There you go. And Jordan just posted it in the chat. Telegram also said that they will leave Australia before they will give up privacy of users. Exactly my point. So they're basically not willing to compromise on privacy. And if you look at the narrative at a macro perspective, where we see Zcash, hello, privacy, all the rage at the moment, we will see some of these projects which have a certain ethos and business model centered around privacy of users explode very soon. So that's why I'm bullish on Ton. Okay, obviously there's an ecosystem behind it, platform used by billions of users, all that. too. But the catalyst for me, I think, will be the fact that they're obviously a messaging app and privacy centered. So that's why I'm bullish on Ton. Ondo. Ondo at 60 cents is yummy. Ondo sub $1 is yummy. And I want to see Ondo coming back once again. You guessed it, feel some of this yucky imbalances. But if you look at Ondo where we're at right now, from a low to the high, you can see that we are sitting pretty at the 786 as we are. So basically, and I'll make it easy for you guys and visual, this is going to be my DCA area for Ondo. We are in now. We are literally in the DCA area for me, which comes back to really nice candles to the left, last push down before move up, retest, liquidity area down there. So a nice retest of that area between the 40 cents to the 60 cents is a given for me on Ondo. So Ondo, something that I'd be happy to start DCAing again at these prices right now. Minding you that we can see, at 40 cents. So don't go all in, please. Just make sure that you go into slowly. Can you show the full Ton chart again? Yes, this was my DCA area on Ton, which I had, but really in reality, this is it. So I'm basically buying now continuously. This was obviously, it was accumulation. No, it was in fact distribution because we sold off, right? So what I do want to see now, and you can potentially, if you're understanding what accumulation distribution is, or good. If not, basically it's when the price moves sideways. Okay, so this could be, it's called consolidation. Price moves two ways: moves up, moves down, and moves sideways. Okay, when it moves sideways, it's called consolidation, which can be accumulations if we go up, or if it's about to buy, or distribution if it's about to go down and sell off. Okay, so this is consolidation. We did just exited the range, potentially to come back into some of these levels down here, and I want to see it stop and break some nice structure before before adding heavily on time. But I've been buying every week, a little bit every week. Is that what you wanted to see, Jordan? Just the full Ton chart? Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. All right, so we've seen we took a look at Ondo. Let's take a look at Render. Now, Render is awesome at these prices. If you look at where we are at a weekly, this was the low, this was the high to low. We are sitting at the AA6. We are sitting at key levels of liquidity previously, back in 2023. A Render at $2, which is where we are today, okay, it is absolutely a great area to DCA now. So my DCA is basically anywhere between now and the end of that week, which is the 59 cents, which I don't think we will see, but if we will see, I'll be very, very, very happy, and I'll be buying at that prices. But this is a project that I am happy to start buying today. We are sitting at the AA6. We have mitigated, about 30% of that wick, which we created recently. We could potentially see a little bit more, sub $2, I think. We'll see shortly. Maybe take these equal lows at 160. But if you are playing the long-term game, if you're playing the spot game, right, buying at $2 and buying at $1.60 when we go back at $14, or when we go back at $9, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Okay, so understand what you're trying to achieve when you take these positions. I'm not telling you to go leverage here because there's no real breaker structure. I'm saying for spot, I'm happy to round at $2 and start a position now, and then at $1.50 I'll take another one, and then at $1 I'll take another one, and then at 50 cents I'll take another one. So I have 3 entries, right? Always split your entries. Don't always go in full 100% of your capital into one position. Split your entries because market may go lower before it moves into your direction. Okay, so I'm happy to call the first position here $2 for Render today. So this is definitely an area that I'm interested in. And once again, do you think that is doable for Render to come back at $9? I think it is very, very doable. I think it's very doable to come back at $12 to $16. So, and that's an 8x, right? We just looked at Uni 5x. We just looked at potential render 8x. So it just makes sense, okay? And then we looked at quant already. So nothing to see there again. Obviously, we had a nice move. I'm not going to chase this move. We ended up closing the daily higher than the previous one. I will likely see a retest of that candle, but we'll have to wait a little bit. We're at 84. I'll be interested in buying again, potentially for a leverage at $73, so $10 lower than where we are right now. That's it for crypto. So main fours, of course, and then a few other projects. Let me see a question in the chat quickly. When you're looking at these older and more established alts and looking at these much higher prices, is this your next cycle high assumption? Yes, absolutely. Or are you seeing these cycle highs? I'm not seeing this at Q4. I am micro bearish. I think we could potentially I've seen the top for this cycle. George, I know that you just got back, but I've been quite vocal for the last, I think, month and a half. I think BTC for now, this was a top. There's many indicators that tells me that this potentially was a top for this cycle. So as to where we retrace into, yeah, that's right. I was calling it way back. So I did say the maximum that I was willing to give to this cycle was 130, 125. But this as soon as we printed this candle right here, I pretty much say that's a top. I do think we will see a retracement back into the 80s soon. I think this is what this move that we are in is going to take us into. And then the real question will be, do we then see lower from that? The 4E cycle that we all got to know from Bitcoin could potentially be broken. I don't know if that is the case, but I did have this chart marked up, which I shared, I don't know how long ago, but a while back on the weekly. Let me just get rid of that. So basically, if you go back into the cycles, this is pretty, it speaks pretty large volumes, right? 51, so 360 days bear market, 1071 days bull market, 378 days bear market, 1064 days bull market. And this was the same down here. And now guess what? This is obviously taking us to potentially a bear market, whether it is a shallower bear market because we have institutions that obviously have played. We also have halvings. If you notice the percentages, this was 83, this was 77. They tend to diminish in terms of how more of a retracement BTC does in a bear market per se. So I would be willing to probably wager that we might see at the very least probably a 50% retracement, which would take us somewhere in the high 60s, mid 60s to high 60s potentially for BTC, which at a macro perspective, so looking here at a weekly, just makes sense. It's where you have a lot of volume, a lot of action here. So coming back, stalling here, taking this liquidity, coming back, and then next leg higher is where I would expect for BTC. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I'm expecting obviously BTC to go down in the next, whatever that is, next year, basically, end of next year. So October 2026 or thereabouts. At which stage I think some of these alts, obviously will have a nice big long run. So I am not, and I'm glad actually that you bring this up. So all these alts that I'm talking about, these are not quick gains, tomorrow. I don't think none of these alts, in fact, I'm going to go on a whim and say none of any alts is going to make new all-time highs between now and Q4, Q1. None of them. Like you can hold me accountable to it, but I just don't think. We might have the odd exception with some of the newer perp dexes and things like that, new projects, but I don't see any of these alts or any of the alts that we know and love coming back to the highs anytime soon. I think with Bitcoin obviously having topped up, if you took profit on the way up, you did great. If not, just wait for the next retracement up. Hopefully some of the alts will follow, and then yeah, just be ready for a few months of down price action, which it's not a bad thing. We can short the market. We make money on the way up, we make money on the way down. So none of these alts that I'm calling are basically for the short term. I want to see these prices. Think of it like it's basically building a portfolio during a bear market. That's what it is. I think we're officially in a bear market situation, and I'm just gonna start to build my portfolio again for the next bull market. In terms of time period, this is the chart that usually you can go by. So if I'm gonna go by to previous cycles, which is obviously a guess, you're looking at 370 days, so end of October, so mid October. So this is what Bitcoin has done historically, to give you an idea. Okay, so we are obviously in September now, so 1 year of this price action, which is what happened every single cycle. Up, down 1 year, up, down 1 year, up, down 1 year. Okay, GM, Greeny in the house. So this is send it to tank. Imagine, bro. No, we were just looking at Jordan. Jordan was just asking some of the levels, and I know. Oh, Ray is in the house too, and I know Ray's share pretty much the same opinion. I think I saw on his channel. Wait for the next pull up, pull up in price, take some profit, and we going down. More Confluence. This is 1970. Yeah, there you go. Layer over Bitcoin. So what have we got? Yep, there you go. So looking at about 60. Interesting, hey? Interesting, because that's the level that I just broke down for the guys. I don't think we're gonna see those 85%, 75% retracement in this bear market. I think we likely see a 50-ish%, 50-60%, which will take us into this juicy weekly volume price action right there, which is obviously between the 50 and the 70 thereabouts. So yeah, that's 70 and that's 50s, somewhere there. Also going to be a market less volatile towards the region. Yeah, alts will get slammed though. Yeah, and we were just, before you guys just joined, we were just breaking down some of the alts that I'm looking at for portfolio building at the moment, with Link at $10, Uni at 4, Ton basically now to 50 cents, and Ondo is now to 40 cents. So these are the alts that I'm happy to start buying. Some of them now, like for example Ondo, DCA on the way down, Ton potentially as well. For Uni, I want to see that monthly candle topped back, that juicy little thing there, which, if I'm not mistaken, also had a nice little volume, if I remember correctly. It had a decent, no, it didn't actually. No, never mind, take it back. But yeah, I want to see $4 for Uni and $10 for Link, because we will see in the next bull, we will see all-time high for some of these projects. The thing about understanding where we are in the bear is that we have ample time to stack USD. Exactly right. Exactly my point. I started off basically during the stream saying, this is what I'm doing now. I am starting to save money. I'm starting to accumulate dollars, fiat, euros, whatever you have. Accumulate now. You have, hopefully you all have a job. If not, go find one. I heard that McDonald's is always hiring, so you can always go and drop your resume there if you need to. But start looking for ways to bring money into your kitty bank. Yeah, so it's basically now is the time to build your wealth. And then once we get to the bottom of the market, this is where, oh my gosh, my mouse is just gone ski. Yeah, you'll be able to finally to finally pull the plug. So hope you all got a bit of clarity as to what I'm looking at in the market, where we are, I think, potentially. And yeah, so having spot ETH and BTC death. No. It's well, Nimesh, if you still got kidneys, you're not playing this game right, mate. You still got kidneys, you're not playing it right. Sorry, mate. Just joking. Just joking. Let's take a look at stocks. Okay, let's take a quick look at stocks. Let's take a quick look at stocks, because we have Target, which yesterday went into our DCA area, which we talked about. There. So this is the DCA zone that I like to see for Target, basically $90 down to $80. We're starting to enter that DCA zone again yesterday. I do want to wait a little bit more. I didn't get in, namely, admittedly, I didn't get in yesterday. I was just flat out. I'm flat out at the moment, so I didn't really pay attention to Target, and I didn't have an alarm set up. But if you are here or if you're watching the recording, just know that Target is pretty much in the zone now for spot. This is not for an option. This is for spot. I'm happy to buy Target again. We sold a little bit higher and we buy a little bit lower. So ARM, we talked about it. It's still far away from where we need to be. I want to wait until all of this liquidity at $127 is taken out. So nothing new there. But I am happy to see that our patience is starting to pay off for GME. So back here, I don't know if you remember, that was back in June, and even way before that, it was back in April. I said I want to wait. I'm not buying here, and I wasn't buying anywhere here. And the reason was, you can see that we will be building this really, really nice trend line right here. Yeah. And as you know, trend lines get what? They get taken. See ya, Greeny. Thanks, mate. Thanks for plugging in. You know that trend lines are basically just money building. Okay, so GME is finally starting to break in that trend line, and I think we'll see a GME at $17 very, very soon. And this will be where personally, I initiate a relatively large position on GME, because I do think, between how much money they're putting in crypto, in their actual holdings and what they're doing, it's definitely a project that will do very good in the long term. So GME on the radar, very much on the radar. Someone last week talked about Figma, and I said that it's also on my radar, but I said that I want to wait for some price action to develop first. I need to see some confirmation. And I wanted to show you guys this. This was drawn up last week. I was explaining the importance of waiting for confirmation and not just pulling the plug at the first sign of a break of structure. We need to see confirmation. This is why. If we bought last week here because we saw this candle right here, oh yeah, we broke structure, all good. Guess what? You've been drawn down. You need to wait for this confirmation. Okay, so this is a great example as to why we need to do that. We talked about it. I said I'm not buying here. This is not enough for me to be a buyer, and this is exactly why. And similar to that, another example is Lululemon, which I said it's also on my list. Okay, so of shopping list soon, but I need to see some confirmation, which haven't come just yet. So in fact, we did ended up going. We did ended up making a lower low. So wait for those confirmations. All right, let's take a look at the chart. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. Good thing about understanding we are in a bear. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's all good. All right, fam. That is pretty much it for me. A nice solid outlook on the main four. What we expect on BTC Dominance going up a little bit more likely. BTC is the only one that filled that 22nd of June candle. And I want to see ETH and Bitcoin, ETH and Solana going back to that same candle down here before I'm a buyer again. Anyone concerned the next US administration may not be as bullish on crypto, leading to a longer bear consolidation phase, more crypto regulations, etc. Good point, Gunnar, but ask yourself this. Once the machine is in motion, once you have institutions that are going to finally adopt crypto, because mind you, crypto was seen as the devil for up until now, pretty much. Once that institution behavior changes and fleeks, which is already happening, as you saw from Mastercard, from banks, and all that. Up in the States, you're going to have banks like Wells Fargo already basically saying that having crypto is okay, where they've been bashing it for all this time. So politics can be one thing, but once the institution, are effectively in motion and they want your money, they want your crypto, doesn't really matter at that stage. I think it's too late. You've got, US is just one economy. Sure, it's a very powerful economy, but it's just one economy. You have pretty much the rest of the world waking up to crypto and to blockchain in general, not just Bitcoin, but blockchain, right? XRP, ledgers, like financial institution, DeFi. Banks are going to ask you to deposit, your Solana and your Ethereum with them. They're going to stake it and they're going to give you a nominal 3% return, and they're going to keep the 7%, whatever they get. So I think it took long enough for us to get to this stage, but we're at a stage now where the machine is in motion and there's no stopping it. So yeah, bullish crypto admins didn't do much then. That's right. Yeah, that's right. If anything, I'll be more concerned about, the centralization, but we talked about that already. There's no escaping the centralization of crypto. It's inevitable. It's happening. It's already happening. XRP is just a poster child of it. There's going to be many more centralized projects which are going to do really good because they're going to be centralized, and that's what people want. All right, fam, I am going to post this, of course, on YouTube, and you can go and watch the recording. But other than that, if there's no other questions, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Any other question? All good? No? We are all good. Good, pleasure. Catch up. Let's catch up. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day / night. Bye.